This is Iorio, and here's this week's Meaningful Moment. All right, today, let's talk about FoMO. That's right. Let's talk about the fear of missing out. I will willingly and freely admit that I have suffered from the fear of missing out. I don't know what it is. I want to be involved. I want to see what's going on. I've wanted to be part of the story or the moment. There's just something about it that gives me a sense of belonging as well as the sense of being in the know. It used to be that I'd push myself to keep going, to accept as many invitations as I could, to rearrange my schedule if there was just an opportunity for something I thought I had to be a part of. I thought I would miss out on something, and it turns out I was missing out on something. In fact, I was missing out on a ton. I was missing out on things because I had a fear of missing out. You see, I was actually missing out on 4 things. The first of which was that I was missing out on rest and my health. Seriously, I was fatigued. I would be on the go all the time. And when I wasn't on the go, I was anxious about probably needing to be somewhere and being on the go because I might miss something. And that type of stress and the distraction, even the restlessness, is just not good for your health. And that's aside from just taking the time to truly rest and take care of yourself, which I didn't used to do. Second, with that fear of missing out, I was actually missing out on this moment, right here, right now. You see, my head was always elsewhere. There was this belief that was underneath it somehow, that somehow something out there was better than what I had right here, that what was right here wasn't enough, that I needed more for me to feel like it was to be enough. I missed so much of what was just right here in front of me. There's always something going on if you take the time to observe, to look around with eyes wide open, to connect to this moment and get present to whatever is here right now. And because I was missing out on the present moment, that led me to number 3. I was missing out on being content. Contentment is not complacency. You see, content is not about being idle or compromising or being lazy in any way. That contentment that we really truly would so much enjoy, is a subtle happiness for what is. What is enough. In fact, what is plenty. Content with what is connects us to being at ease, to being at peace with this moment, this experience, this situation, even this life on a big scale. And in fact, when I'm content with what is, meaning I don't need to be somewhere else or have this be something else, we also begin to recognize the potential of what's possible with what's right here in front of us. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, when I was pursuing the fear of missing out, all these other opportunities that may supposedly be out there, I wasn't being true to myself. It was more about other people's interests and just belonging for the sake of belonging, not because it was real, true, deep connection. I would let the anxiety of missing out drag me around, and oftentimes, more often than I'd probably even care to admit, that it was nothing. There was nothing I was missing out on whatsoever. There was nothing to miss out on. And if something cool happened, I enjoyed knowing a few things. First, that I'd made a choice for myself to not be there and instead to focus on what I needed or what I valued or what mattered at that moment as opposed to pursuing some unknown. And that the second thing was that I could still get that sense of belonging that I really truly appreciate and I do value, but instead I could get it through my friends or whomever telling me the story about the experience and being present with them to listen deeply and intently and actually connect to their story and to them at that moment, right then and there. And that yielded an even greater connection than just trying to be there to experience whatever it is that they had. So part of this was all about, for me, breaking the fear of missing out and realizing how much I was actually missing. But the second part of it was sinking more deeply into what I had been missing. You see, focusing more and more on what really mattered to me and what helped me create the type of life that I appreciated for what it was and what was here. I didn't believe that I was missing out on anything because I focused on what mattered and created the life that I wanted to be in all the time. And so one of the things in relation to the fear of missing out, in relation to FOMO, was that I came back and really started to get recentered on an old reference for me that's just always been important. And that's the idea of being home. So some of you may know the background, many of you probably don't, was that I'd lost my home in a fire when I was just 5 years old. And that idea of being home was one that eluded me for many, many years afterwards. I just wasn't comfortable or content wherever it is that I happen to find myself. It was like I was perpetually searching for something, that some right spot, right moment, right experience would occur, and I'd finally feel this thing and be able to say I'm home again. But home, in the sense that I'm talking about right now, is not a physical place. It's not simply a structure with four walls that is somewhere. The home that I was trying to connect to was a place that was within myself. Home, in fact, is a place that you can connect to within yourself, where you're centered, where you're grounded, where you're content. It's when you're able to allow things to arise and emerge from just this place of being present, from whatever the moment is that's in front of you right now, to just allow them to unfold and to resettle and to begin to sink into that. When I found the home within, I no longer had a need to keep searching. I was no longer worried I was missing out on trying to go find it, on something that might be better. And so that's really what I wanted to leave you with this week, was to get you to think about, what is it that truly matters most within your life? What is it that you want to focus on? Because if you're looking for some opportunity that's out there, some experience that's out there that's meant to provide it to you, chances are you're going to be looking for that for a really long time. But if you can get centered on what you want that moment to provide, what you want that opportunity to provide, whether it's connection or joy and happiness, peace or contentment, love, whatever it happens to be, whatever the real true goal of what you want to experience and what you want to connect to, get clear on that. And then get clear on what matters in terms of how you can connect to it. So how can you bring that connection, that love, that peace, that contentment, that joy, that happiness? How can you bring it into your everyday life so that you not only know what matters, but you can begin to live what matters, to prioritize it, and to bring it into your everyday experience? For me, I bring a lot of that just into the concept of being home. Because when I find that place within where I know I'm home, I know that I don't have to look anywhere else. So until our next moment together, much love.